Hello everyone, welcome to a new video here. Today I thought of discussing Docker. Docker is a very useful concept and we had to use it in our project because of a problem that we faced. So very quickly, let me explain the problem and then we will discuss about Docker. So what we built an application where we are helping users to prepare for a voice interview. If you have been watching my videos, you know about this. And we faced a very peculiar problem wherein our application was working very well in our local environment, but when we tried to deploy this, we started facing issues, especially related to the turn detection modules that we use in our project. But it's very difficult to make changes in the production environment, and we have to make changes in the local environment. But then how do you fix a problem if that problem does not exist in your local environment? And to do exactly that, we decided to switch over to Docker. Docker is a containerized environment which you can deploy exactly as it is in the production environment, and there will be no difference in the production environment and your local build if you work with from within a Docker. So what we decided is we will switch over to Docker and we will integrate our application into the Docker. So we did not do this from the beginning, but this is not a problem. You can actually do this at any point in time. So this is exactly what we did. So we have a front end, a backend, and a LiveKit voice agent. So for each of these services, we needed a separate Docker container because these were separate entities in their own that were communicating among each other. So we built a Docker file for our front end, for our backend, and for the LiveKit voice agent. And to ensure that everything can be work together in a common command file, we built something called as a Docker compose file. And this Docker compose file knows which are the Docker containers that exist in our project, and it builds them all. And we can have some parameters here which we will look into later. So looking at the Docker file itself, what does this contain? It is not very complex, but it could get complex. But in a simple form, it starts by including Python slim variant so that it's very compact. We create a working directory called app where all our application source files and all the requirements are added. You first copy the requirements.txt, you install them in your container, you copy all the code that exists. So basically all the code that exists in this Python backend container except for this LiveKit voice agent because this has a separate Docker file. And then we have to expose a port. This is a necessity for our backend. And then we run the main.py file, which is here. This ensures that this Docker container runs smoothly and the environment is exactly the same as it would be in a production environment. And it exactly worked very well because we were able to reproduce the issue we were facing in the production environment. And this was the benefit of using a Docker file. Let's have a quick look at Docker Compose file. So basically we tell in the Docker Compose file that, okay, we have a front end, we need ports for this, it has dependency on backend, we can provide some memory values, we can mount those in volume where if you make code changes, you can quickly refresh that and you don't have to build the whole Docker file again. So you have services backend and services voice agent. So let's quickly build this and have a quick look as to how we can build this together. So for this, we will use the command which is docker compose up build. So basically it goes to this docker compose YAML file and it builds all this dockers here. So the front end, the back end, and the voice agent. And if we use this up command, it means that after building it, it will start the service also. So let's quickly try this out. It will take a few seconds. It's a shorter duration because I have built this previously, so it should be considerably shorter. But in the first time, it will take probably some minutes. So as you can see, it is building, exporting, and it's done. So you have the backend, you have the front end, and you have the voice agent. So, and you can already start seeing that these agents are also outputting information related to our application. And this is really nice. Everything is running smooth. So let me quickly show you some more commands. So let's say you are working on only backend and you just want to just rerun the backend. So what you can do is you can just say docker compose build backend, and then you can up it. So this would mean that you don't have to build all the three apps. So yeah, exactly like this. Let's have a quick look at some of the other commands where it can be useful. So what you can do is you can go to a particular directory where your Docker file is, and you can just say docker build -t livekit voice agent, and dot means build whatever is in the current directory. Yeah, so this will build the image from the current directory, and it will give the name livekit voice agent. Yeah, so Docker Compose build, we saw this along with the up code. So Docker Compose up is basically it will start running already built Docker files. Yeah, and Docker Compose down is it will stop. So hopefully these commands are helpful for you, and it I hope that you got an initial idea of what Docker is, how it works, and hopefully you will be able to also use it for your applications. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Bye bye.